Chevrolet just did something no one saw coming. And if you blink through the next few seconds, you are going to miss the exact moment this brand rewrote its own future. What you are looking at right now is not a facelift. It is not a trim package, and it is not another badge slapped onto a Camaro platform to squeeze out one more model year. This is the 2027 Chevrolet Nova SS 454. A car that walks onto the stage looking like it drove straight out of a concept sketch. And by the time we get to the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why insiders are calling it the most important performance Chevrolet in a generation. I am your host here on Premium Automotive Reviews, the channel built for people who are tired of surface-level walkarounds and empty hype. We do not just tell you what a car looks like. We break down why every line, every material, and every piece of technology exists. And we tell you what it actually means for the way you drive, live, and feel behind the wheel. If you have been with us before, you know we do not throw around words like revolutionary unless we can back it up. So stick around, because there are details in this Nova SS 454 story that most outlets have completely missed, comparisons that will surprise you, and a reveal near the end about how this car handles itself in a way that changes what you should expect from an American performance coupe going forward. Let's start with the moment you actually see this car in person. The Nova SS 454 sits low, wide, and pressed into the ground like it is already doing 90 while parked. The stance alone tells a story before you even hear the engine. Chevrolet engineered this next-generation body with a widened track that pushes the fenders outward in a way that feels aggressive but never cartoonish. The front end carries forward, a face you recognize as unmistakably Chevrolet. But every surface has been sharpened, tightened, and pulled taut like the design team refused to let a single panel sit there without purpose. The signature split grille has been reworked into two deep, hungry intakes that flank a bold horizontal bar carrying the bow tie emblem front and center, flanked by SS 454 badging that lets everyone on the road know exactly what just pulled up beside them. Look closer at those headlights and you will notice something genuinely new. The slim daylight running strip cuts a crisp horizontal line across the face of the car, and tucked beneath it sits a projector cluster with a jeweled, almost mechanical texture inside the housing. It is the kind of lighting signature that is instantly recognizable at night, the kind that other drivers pick out from three cars back in traffic. Chevrolet is expected to lean into adaptive matrix-style lighting here, meaning the beam pattern can shift and reshape itself in real time to avoid blinding oncoming traffic while still lighting up everything ahead of you, a feature that is becoming an expectation rather than a luxury in this segment. Now follow the hood back, and this is where things start to get seriously interesting. The hood is not flat, it is not simple. It is sculpted with an aggressive central power dome, flanked by a pair of heat extraction vents that look like they were carved by wind itself. Industry estimates suggest a carbon fiber hood option will be available on higher trims, both to save weight and to feed the engine bay the airflow it is going to need. That texture you can see rippling under the surface is not for show, it is function wearing a designer suit. This is a car that clearly wants you to know, before you even open the door, that it was engineered around performance first and styling second, even though the styling alone could sell it on looks. Move along the profile, and the roofline slopes back in a long, uninterrupted arc that channels the muscle car silhouette this nameplate has always been known for. Except now it feels tighter, more athletic, more European in its tension, without losing a single ounce of American attitude. The greenhouse is compact, the beltline is high, and the door panels are pulled in with a subtle character line that catches light beautifully as the car moves. Down low, the side skirts extend outward into a wide-body treatment that visually and physically increases the footprint of the car, giving it a planted, almost predatory look, like it is crouched and ready to launch the second the light turns green. The wheels deserve their own moment here because they are not an afterthought. Deep concave forged wheels, finished in a two-tone treatment that mixes gloss black centers with a polished lip, wrap around massive high-performance brakes that peek through with vivid red calipers. That is not just there to look good in photos, though it absolutely does. It is a visual promise that this car has the stopping power to match whatever the engine is about to deliver. And when you get to the rear of this thing, that is where the design team clearly had the most fun. A quad exhaust setup pokes through a aggressively sculpted rear diffuser, flanked by a taillight design that stretches a pair of angular light blades across the trunk, connected by a thin illuminated bar that ties the whole rear fascia together the moment you hit the brakes at night. It is dramatic without being desperate, which is a difficult balance most modern performance cars fail to strike. Now here is where I want you to pause and really think about what Chevrolet is doing with this nameplate. For decades, muscle car buyers have had to choose between raw, old-school theater and modern, refined capability. Older cars gave you emotion but made you compromise on comfort, tech, and daily usability. This next-generation Nova SS 454 is being engineered to erase that compromise entirely. And nowhere is that more obvious than the second you open the door and slide inside. The old idea of a muscle car interior being an afterthought, all hard plastic and analog gauges thrown together around a big engine, is officially dead here. Step inside, and the first thing that hits you is how premium this cabin feels. More like a grand touring cockpit than a budget performance coupe. The dashboard wraps around the driver in a cocoon-style layout, blending soft touch materials, contrast stitching, and strategically placed carbon fiber trim that catches ambient light rather than just sitting there flat and lifeless. Chevrolet appears to be leaning heavily into a dual-tone, black and red color scheme on the performance trims, with red accent stitching running across the seats, the steering wheel, the door panels, and even bleeding into the floor mats, creating a cohesive, purpose-built race-inspired identity the moment you close the door. Speaking of the steering wheel, this is a flat-bottom, thick-rimmed unit wrapped in what feels like suede microfiber for maximum grip, with a bright red centering stripe at 12 o'clock so you always know exactly where your hands are relative to the wheel during aggressive driving. Behind it sits a fully digital driver display, reconfigurable to show anything from a classic dual-gauge layout, reminiscent of the original muscle car era, to a stripped-down performance mode that pushes a giant center-mounted tachometer front and center when you are pushing the car hard. It is a small detail, but it is the kind of thing that shows this generation of engineers actually understands what drivers want to see when they are focused on the road, not buried in menus. The centerpiece of the dashboard is a floating touchscreen, angled slightly toward the driver, running what is expected to be Chevrolet's latest infotainment architecture. Wake it up and the first thing you see is bold SS 454 branding, immediately reminding you this is not a base model experience. The interface is expected to be quick, intuitive, and deeply integrated with smartphone connectivity, over-the-air update capability, and a suite of driver customization options that let you tailor everything from throttle response curves to ambient lighting themes without digging through nested menus. And that ambient lighting deserves a mention on its own, because Chevrolet appears to have wrapped the cabin in thin illuminated strips that trace the contour of the dash, the door panels, and even glow subtly around the cup holders and shifter area, casting the whole interior in a moody red hue after dark that makes this car feel like a cockpit built for night drives through a city skyline. Materials throughout the cabin lean premium, with quilted, diamond-stitched leather seating surfaces that are both supportive and genuinely comfortable, a meaningful upgrade over the flat, unsupportive buckets that plagued muscle cars of previous generations. The seats themselves are expected to offer aggressive bolstering for track use while still remaining comfortable enough for a long highway cruise, which is exactly the kind of dual personality this car is being engineered to deliver. Even the shifter, wrapped in matching leather with contrast stitching and a bold SS emblem embossed on top, feels like a piece of jewelry rather than a utilitarian lever. But here is the part that I think changes the entire conversation around this car, and it is something a lot of casual viewers are going to overlook. This is not just a beautiful shell wrapped around a big engine anymore. This is a fully connected, intelligent performance platform. Expect the Nova SS 454 to launch with a driver assistance suite that includes adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assistance, automatic emergency braking, and a surround view camera system that makes tight parking situations with that wide-body stance far less intimidating than you would think. Industry reporting also points toward a semi-autonomous highway driving mode being offered as an option, allowing hands-off cruising under specific conditions, something that would have been unthinkable on a muscle car even 5 years ago. And this is where the open question really starts to build, because underneath all of this styling and technology sits a performance promise that the badge alone practically demands. The 454 designation is not just a number chosen at random. It is a callback to one of the most legendary big block engine displacements in Chevrolet history, and industry insiders widely believe this next-generation model is being engineered to honor that legacy with a serious power output. While Chevrolet has not officially confirmed exact figures, projections and engineering expectations point toward an engine developing well north of 600 horsepower, likely paired with a modernized force induction setup rather than a naturally aspirated big block, giving this car explosive low-end torque combined with a top-end pull that keeps building long after lesser performance cars have run out of breath. There is also growing anticipation around a hybridized performance variant sitting further down the development pipeline. One that would pair a potent V8 with an electrified boost system to push output even higher while improving low-speed torque delivery and daily drivability. This would not replace the raw combustion experience enthusiasts crave, but rather enhance it, giving Chevrolet a way to stay competitive as emissions regulations tighten without abandoning the soul that makes a car like this worth caring about in the first place. Nothing here is confirmed by the manufacturer, but the engineering direction across the entire industry makes this kind of hybrid-assisted muscle car increasingly likely as we move further into this decade. Power alone does not make a car special, though, and this is where the chassis engineering becomes just as important as the number under the hood. Expect a fully independent suspension setup tuned specifically around that widened track and staggered wheel arrangement, with adaptive magnetic dampers that can read the road surface and adjust firmness in a fraction of a second. This is the kind of technology that allows a car to feel genuinely comfortable during a relaxed daily commute, then transform into a taut, responsive weapon the moment you switch into a track-focused driving mode. Combine that with a limited slip differential, launch control programming, and a chassis that has clearly been stiffened compared to outgoing models, and you get a car that is engineered to be planted, predictable, and confidence-inspiring, even when you are pushing it far beyond what most owners will ever actually explore on public roads. Braking hardware follows the same philosophy, with large multi-piston calipers, gripping vented and drilled rotors designed to shrug off repeated hard stops without fading, a detail that matters enormously if this car is going to see any time on a road course, which, given its aggressive personality, it absolutely will. Ride quality is expected to remain surprisingly composed for daily use, meaning this is not a car that beats you up on a normal commute just to satisfy track day bragging rights. That dual personality, comfortable enough for daily life, ferocious enough for a canyon run or a track weekend, is exactly the formula that has separated great performance cars from merely fast ones. Now let's talk about something people rarely bring up when they cover cars like this, and that is how genuinely usable it is day to day. Despite the wide-body stance and low-profile styling, the Nova SS 454 is expected to retain a usable trunk with enough room for a proper grocery run, a set of golf clubs, or a couple of overnight bags for a weekend getaway. The rear seats, while snug, appear designed with real adults in mind, rather than being purely decorative, meaning this can realistically function as a second car for a small family or a daily driver for someone who refuses to compromise on excitement just because life gets a little more practical. Combine that with modern safety technology, a comfortable ride when you want it, and genuinely impressive fuel efficiency estimates for a car in this performance bracket, thanks to expected cylinder deactivation and efficiency-focused engine management, and you start to see a car that does not force you to choose between passion and practicality. So, who is this car actually built for? It is built for the driver who grew up idolizing the big block muscle cars of the past, but refuses to accept the compromises those cars demanded. It is built for someone who wants a genuinely engaging analog driving experience, but still expects the technology, safety, and connectivity of a modern flagship. It is for the enthusiast who wants heads to turn in a parking lot, but also wants to be able to drive that same car to work on a rainy Tuesday without a second thought. Chevrolet is not just building a fast car here, they are building a statement, a reminder that American performance can evolve without losing what made it special in the first place. When you step back and look at the complete picture, the design, the interior, the projected power output, the chassis technology, and the way all of it comes together into one cohesive, emotionally charged package, it becomes clear that the 2027 Nova SS 454 is not just another entry in a long line of Chevrolet performance cars. It feels like a genuine glimpse into where American muscle is headed next, a future where raw power and cutting-edge intelligence do not fight each other, they work together. This is not a car that is trying to preserve the past by copying it. It is a car that respects the past while confidently building something new on top of it. If this breakdown gave you a deeper appreciation for what Chevrolet appears to be building, do us a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel keep bringing you honest, detailed coverage instead of recycled headlines. Subscribe if you have not already, because we have more deep dives like this one coming, and drop a comment letting us know what you think this car needs to truly earn that legendary 454 badge. Until next time, this has been Premium Automotive Reviews, and we will see you in the next one. This video is based on current automotive industry insights, publicly available design analysis, market trends, and reliable reporting available at the time of writing. The 2027 Chevrolet Nova SS 454, as described here, reflects realistic projections and industry expectations rather than officially confirmed manufacturer specifications. All performance figures, features, technology, pricing, and production timelines are subject to change and should be considered speculative until officially confirmed by Chevrolet.